All right, let's talk about data. We are absolutely swimming in it these days, right? It's coming from our apps, websites, databases, pretty much everywhere. But honestly, most of the time, it's just a chaotic mess. So in this explainer, we're going to talk about data integration, the essential skill for bringing some serious order to that chaos and finding the value hidden inside. A great way to think about it is like this. Raw data, just sitting in a bunch of different places, has a ton of potential, but it's kind of like crude oil that's just been pulled out of the ground. You can't just pump crude oil directly into your car, right? It's useless until it's been refined. Well, data integration is that refinery. It's the process that turns all that raw, disconnected info into high-octane fuel for making smart decisions. Okay, so let's dive into the core problem that data integration was literally invented to solve. And it's actually pretty simple when you boil it down. Our data is everywhere, but it's not talking to each other. It's siloed in different systems, it's in different formats. It's like they're all speaking different languages. And that, right there, is the modern data challenge. Now, this isn't just some corporate headache we're talking about. Look at this incredibly powerful example from the European Holocaust research infrastructure. I mean, just think about the monumental task they have, trying to integrate historical records from countless archives scattered across different countries, each with its own way of doing things. It's a perfect illustration of just how complex and incredibly meaningful this challenge can be. So here's the kicker. It's not just that the data is in different places. The real challenge, the thing that keeps data engineers up at night, is that these are heterogeneous sources. And all that fancy term means is that the data is structured in completely different ways. One system might store everything in nice, neat, predictable rows and columns, while another might look more like a flexible, tangled spider web. And this slide right here shows you exactly what we mean. On the left, you've got your traditional relational database. Think of a super organized spreadsheet, very rigid, very structured. But then you look over to the right, and you've got a NoSQL graph database, which is all about mapping the connections between pieces of data. It's incredibly powerful, but a totally different beast. So the million-dollar question is, how on earth do you get these two to talk to each other? Well, that, my friends, is where data integration comes in to save the day. It's the entire discipline, all the strategies, and all the tech designed specifically to tame this chaos. It's about building bridges between all these separate data islands to create one single, unified landscape. So here it is, the textbook definition. Data integration is the process of combining data from different sources to give users a unified view. But what does that really mean in plain English? It means creating a single source of truth so that everyone, from the CEO to the marketing intern, is looking at the exact same complete picture. No more arguments about whose numbers are right. And you've got to understand, this whole thing is a team sport. It is not just for the IT department. You've got data stewards, who are like the guardians of data quality. You've got data engineers, the architects building the actual pipelines. You have data analysts, who are the detectives finding the hidden insights. And most importantly, you have the business users, the people on the front lines who need that clean data to make critical decisions. All right, we've nailed down the what and the why. So now let's get into the really fun part, the how. How does this all actually happen? What are the key strategies and technologies that really power data integration? Let's make this super concrete. First up, you have schema matching. Imagine your sales system calls a customer client_ID, but your support system calls that same person a user_number. Schema matching is simply the process of mapping those two fields together, telling the system, hey, these two different names, they mean the exact same thing. Then you have data reconciliation. This is all about making sure you have one single golden record for each customer so you don't have 5 different conflicting profiles floating around. Okay, so one of the most classic ways of doing this is a process called ETL. It's a 3-step dance. First, you extract the raw data from all your different sources. Next, you transform it. This is the magic step where you clean it all up, apply those strategies we just talked about, and get it speaking one common language. And finally, you load that beautiful, clean data into a central spot, like a data warehouse where it's ready for action. Now, you'll also hear people talk about ELT, which is just extract, load, and then transform. With today's powerful cloud systems, you can just dump all the raw data in first and sort it out later, which gives you a bit more flexibility. Now, ETL and ELT are awesome for processing data in big batches, like running a job every night. But what happens when you need answers right now? What do you do with what people call data in motion? the stuff that's constantly streaming in, changing every single second. For that, you need data streaming. This is a whole different ballgame. It doesn't wait for some nightly batch job. It processes data continuously, in real time as it's born. This is the technology that powers things like instant fraud detection. You know, when your credit card company flags a weird purchase a second after it happens, or live dashboards that show you website traffic as it's happening. That's data streaming. It's integration for the age of now. So we've got the strategies, we've got the technologies, but what are people actually using to get this done? Let's take a quick spin through the toolbox and check out the platforms that make all this happen. And man, the tool landscape is just huge. You've got these really powerful open source options like Talent and Pentaho, which you can customize to do pretty much anything. Then there's the whole world of cloud-native tools, sometimes called iPaaS, like Fivetran and Stitch. These are built from the ground up to connect all your modern cloud apps. And of course, you have specialized platforms for the exact kinds of data we've been talking about, like tools for NoSQL databases or platforms like Kafka, which are built for streaming. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because this isn't just marketing copy. This is a real-world perspective from actual users. Check out the pricing models. Fivetran charges you based on monthly active rows. That means you pay every time a row of data is added or even just updated. Stitch charges by how many rows you import. And the key takeaway from folks on Reddit, both of these can get super expensive super fast if you're trying to replicate a whole busy database. And that reality is exactly why so many people are turning to powerful open-source alternatives like Airbyte. So we have the theory, we have the tools. Seems like we should be good to go, right? Well, not so fast. Putting all of this into practice in the real world, well, let's just say it's not always a walk in the park. So what are the real hurdles, and why is it so worth it to jump over them? The challenges are definitely real. First, there's just the sheer technical complexity of it all. Making all these different systems play nice is hard. Then there's data quality. You have to remember the golden rule. Garbage in, garbage out. If your source data is a mess, your final result will be a mess. Then, of course, security and governance are absolutely huge, especially when you're pulling all your sensitive data into one place. And yeah, as we just saw, cost can be a really big factor. And this quote from a user really brings that cost challenge to life. I mean, they're giving super practical advice based on their own pain. They're basically saying, hey, watch out. This got really expensive for us really quickly with this specific use case. That's the kind of real-world insight that's just priceless. So this brings us to the big, obvious question. If data integration is this complicated, if it can be this expensive, why does basically every single successful company on the planet invest so heavily in it? Why even bother?
The answer? Well, it pretty much comes down to this one number.
63%. That's the percentage of companies, according to a big IBM study, who say that using integrated data and analytics gives them a direct competitive advantage. See, this isn't just some technical cleanup project. It's a strategic weapon. It's how you truly understand your customers, how you make your business run more efficiently, and how you innovate faster than everybody else. So at the end of the day, data integration is really about one thing. It's about building the ability to finally listen to what your data has been trying to tell you all along. The insights that could completely transform your business or your research, they're already there. They're just scattered everywhere. The only real question left is, are you prepared to do the work to actually hear them,